Hey guys, this is a video to accompany my new upload, Hoard of the Dragon Queen Chapter 2. This is a follow-on from Chapter 1, which mainly took part in Green Nest. This one's going to venture a little bit further out into the Raiders camp. What I'm going to do is I'm going to upload a separate file for this, as well as update the original one, mainly because quite often we take the things we find in the workshop and embed them into our own tables, and so hopefully if we've got it in a separate file it'll trigger, and you guys can find the second chapter a little bit easier. So like I said, we found ourselves in Green Nest. We arrived, just open this up now. We arrived and the town was completely on fire, under attack by raiders and cultists and whatnot, all those sort of guys. And our players were going to be making our way through it. There was several different things we could do during there. We could go inside the tavern down at the bottom, we could go to the farmstead up at the top, we could go to the main square, and eventually hopefully the main castle, and hopefully have a good few fights, meet some people, do a bit of role playing, and just generally get to know our characters a little bit. Whether it actually plays out like that is very different. I mean, our players actually, they ended up getting the Governor Nighthill, the main guy who's in charge of Green Nest. They ended up getting him killed. He ended up dying on the walls, getting shot by one of those lizard things. And the group ended up splitting. Half went to the village to the north on the Sword Coast map, and the other group have decided to continue on with the adventure. And so now I've ended up doing 2 adventures, that's fine, it's enjoyable, it's unexpected, but that's what you need to expect with players, the unexpected. But I suppose that's one thing we just need to roll with, and I think that's what I'm going to try and do with what I have tried to do with Chapter 2 maps, and will continue to do, is to make them nice and flexible, because the players, they will want to do their own thing, and generally only have the story as like pretty much a side interest, and yeah, they'll follow along loosely, but generally follow their own whims and what they're interested in, really. So where are we up to? So you find yourselves in Green Nest and talking to Governor Nighthill, or in our case a stand-in, the new leader. I think Mike something is probably going to stand in ours. I know a very imaginative name, but either way. So they'll be talking to Governor Nighthill, and he's going to request that the adventuring group go out and find out some information about who raided the city and what sort of damage they did. He's going to offer out 250 gold pieces for each adventure, for each party member, and he wants to find out who's raiding them, their location, how many raiders there are, who the leaders are, and what's their motivation behind the attacks. And then he's going to offer up unlimited supplies, well, not unlimited, but within reason, enough supplies to carry out this task and come back with the information. And then once the players are getting ready, a battered and bruised monk's going to approach them and ask the adventurers to find another monk called Leosin, and then present a broken staff and a choker, and said that he was caught during raiding and taken away. I mean, some of the more some of the DMs which have read ahead in the adventure might have realised Leosin was going to become a character and involved him in the original raid, and had the goblins drag him off in front of the player's eyes, so it forms a bit of a connection, so that they have that want to go and get this monk bloke. And then off you all pop, and you're told, right, okay, they were seen going, I think, southeast or southwest in the adventure it describes it as, but it doesn't really matter which way you describe it as long as you give a path, and then they have to pass a few DCs and start following it along. And what you do find is that the players will come across 2 possibilities whilst they're tracking. There's a rear guard and a group of stragglers. They tend to come across the stragglers first, and that tends to be just a straight up combat, just to break up some of the RP. You've come back to the adventure, you've come back to the session, you've done some RP with Governor Nighthill, you've done some RP with this random monk guy and tried to go find, so they've got this combat to break it up. So you go do this straggler combat, and I was going to build some general adventure maps, but I was having a look around on the workshop, and a user by the name of one Gnor, one Gore, 1GN0R, has built a few different maps which I think would really be I'm going all over the opposite here. Right, let's end all this and let's redo it. There we go. And he's created some maps which are really well done and fit perfectly into the instant encounter sort of thing which we need. So you come across the straggler group and we can use the forest encounter 1, and this is literally just some trees and some foliage, but it's effective. You can have them hide in these trees, stealth around, whatever you need to, whatever you want. And then the rear guard you could perhaps have on forest encounter 2. And like I said, these are sort of maps which can be used for whatever. I mean, the players could decide that they want to go out and hunt some elk, or a druid might say, right, I will go talk to some forest animals. This is perfect for that. So I've included these in. They're not my work, but they're on the workshop, so I've included them in because it's nice to have it all in one big package. And quite honestly, they're good maps to use. There's also this one here. I don't know what that word means, but this one's a really nice map, which I'm probably going to include a bit later on in the adventure. It's going to be nice for the ranged characters to be shooting across, and a bit of a choke point over the bridge. I mean, I might make that bridge a bit wider, just so it's a bit easier to place characters and stuff. But either way, it's going to be a very cool map to play on. So if we go back to the South Coast, I really do need some links to get straight back to the map. I might include those before I upload this. So either way, the players are going along and they're tracking this raiding group who are pillaging the land, and it's quite easy to follow them. And they have these two instances, possibly a combat and possibly a bit of an RP one, where they capture the kobolds, and they learned that it's actually quite easy to become a member of this raiding group. It seems to be a mismatched band of cultists, raiders, kobolds, and generally anyone who's down on a luck who wants to form into a band. And so the players may decide, right, we're going to infiltrate into this camp and find out the information. They might try and brute force it, they might try and do it from afar, they might try and scout it from a long distance, and I'm hoping that the map caters for all of these. So this is the main raiders map. It's split into 3 sections. We've got the main entrance. This is built with RP definitely in mind. I've put a bit of a cliff face on the back there, and you've got a bit of a perimeter there which they've put up, and then you've got a load of people, kobolds and crazy people hitting themselves with maces, all gathered around fires, and there's a lot of chance for RP. I mean, this particular camp here, they could be well, in fact, I remember reading in the adventure there's different there's different parties within the raiders group. There's different coloured dragon aspects within them. So this could be blue, this one down here could be green, could have pink or fluorescent yellow for all I care up there. And then the obvious lookouts. I mean, if the players did try and brute force this area, they're looking at what, just around the 5s, you're talking 11. You know, you got the wolves, the lookouts, all sorts. So probably won't be able to brute force it, but sneak through, very possible. Role play through it and become part of the group, very possible as well. However the players want to do it, but it's available to them. Now I did put the models in on this. On some of the other maps I've not put the models in, mainly for the reason that if a player has decided that he's got a vendetta against goblins, then sure as hell your DM's going to put goblins in your adventure to try and encourage a bit more role playing, a bit more hatred, and get you a bit more emotionally involved in what's going on. So that's the raiders camp. If we go back to the main one, this one is what I decided with this one is this is a follow on from the entrance, and what players would do is if they were role playing, they might progress through and come across this, or if they decided that the player group wanted to spy, this one's perfect for spying. They can come across on the large mountainside, come on, climb down, hide in the foresty areas, and hear what's going on around here. And or you've got the role players who can come in from this direction, meet whoever's stood around here. I've not put a campfire in there, needs a campfire in there actually. And then I've built a bit of an arena here, which the players could take part in, because I know earlier on in chapter 1 part of the adventure there was a dragon king. I can't remember which aspect he was, but he challenges one of the strongest adventurers. Maybe he could make a reappearance, or even you could have a different kind. It adds a bit of combat into something where I imagine it's going to be very roleplay heavy. Breaks it up a little bit. Some of the other players can if they're not very good at roleplay, this is where they can shine. Maybe some of the fighters or the barbarians of the group. And this is where they can shine. Oh, I put 10 gold down that my friend here can beat your mate. That sort of business. And then we've got the final one, which is the heading up to the cave entrance. Now this one I didn't build, but this is one I saw on the workshop built by Wongor or Wonganor, however you want to pronounce your name. And I thought it fit in perfect. It's got a cave in the raiders' camp, a cave which no one else is allowed in except for that one bloke. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but this is perfect for it. It's a long dusty track with a camp maybe for only the elites, and the players, it's going to be tantalising for the players. I mean, what the hell's in there? That's a crazy ass face, and it's very mystical. They're definitely going to sneak along here and report this back to Governor Nighthill, or in our case Mike, the bloke who stood in. That'll be very interesting. And so what we've got a collection of maps which hopefully will be suited towards a full combat, a full RP, or a full spy stealth mission. And I can't really think of any others which the players would do. I mean, I don't know, they might make a flying machine and decide that they want to go over the top of it. It's players, okay? They'll find a way to mess around with your adventure. Either way, I think it should work quite well for Hoard of the Dragon Queen. And it's got some side maps in there which you can use for casual encounters and things like that. So let me know what you think of it. I think I am going to continue on making the maps for chapter 3, and I probably will have to include some of the maps which we're going to be using for the side adventure which some of the group are going towards. I think they're going to go up north towards a town, and with some of the surviving villagers from Green Nest as they fled whilst the raiding's going on. So I'm not sure what we're going to do with them, but I'm sure we'll find something interesting to do. And yeah, like I say, let me know how you think it is, what you think of the maps, and any improvements which we can make, and then I can put them in, update it, and then you guys can start using it, because I think that's the beauty of Tabletop Simulator. There's very little selfishness going on. Everyone seems to upload everything they've got, and then it just becomes one big giant collective. I mean, this table, I think this table is made. It was Jester's table, which I've customised a little bit just to. So players have got their own little areas, and quite frankly, it's amazing stuff. People are putting hours and hours into this Tabletop Simulator and creating some really beautiful maps and beautiful scenery. So yeah, let me know how it goes. Let me know how your adventures goes, and if it works, if it doesn't work, what didn't work, and then we can hopefully try and make improvements so that if you do come across it again, or you need to use it again, or for future players, it works a little bit better for them. So see you next time, guys.